Hey everybody, it's me, JJ Panzer, your smart apartment advisor with the Real Management Company, back with another quick call this week to keep everybody up to date on what's going on in the rental business now that we're making our way through this COVID pandemic. It's been almost a year, and as expected, I think in the beginning, we are making our way through the sausage making process that is relief and stimulus bills. And as we've discussed previously, there really isn't a lot known yet, though the money's supposed to start flowing March 15th, which is just 12 short days from now. The San Francisco Apartment Association has been asked to apply to be a community-based organization. And as a board member on that organization, I've been kept up to date on that process, except that they expected to hear earlier this week on whether that was going to happen. And they haven't heard anything yet. So I talked to them yesterday. They still didn't know anything. They were saying maybe it was going to be yesterday, and I haven't heard anything more. So we still don't know whether they will be included, and we don't know what the application process is going to look like. We don't know how it's going to run. We don't know anything else. But I'm hearing that everything that I'm hearing is the same as what other people are hearing in this process, and so we're just going to keep our ears open. I got an email today from the Apartment Association, the California Apartment Association, saying that they're having a webinar next Thursday, and I signed up for it to talk about to answer a lot of questions that seemed like really good questions to me. You know, how do they make sure that people aren't double dipping and applying for federal and state money for the same affected tenants and the same, rent balances and all of that. So, we'll see how that application process, works out. But at this point, we still don't know how that's going to look or what it's going to be like. And there isn't a lot going on. I unfortunately, Josh isn't able to make it today because I guess fortunately for him, he had a lot of inquiries on some of his rentals that he's leasing. And so he decided to just schedule his open houses and get them out of the way, because that's a big priority right now. We've seen some uptick in applications, but it's still the same sort of recycling of tenants from within San Francisco for better living situations or lower rents, as opposed to lots of people coming from outside. But I'm optimistic. Maybe it was just the weather for the last week was so nice and warm, though now it looks like it's going to be very cold and rainy, or at least very cold by our standards, and raining for the next week or so. But it felt like spring was coming, and a lot of optimism about vaccinations and about moving into the red tier here in San Francisco, and moving hopefully down to lower tiers and being able to do things like have indoor dining and sporting events and concerts and all the things that we love about San Francisco. And I really think as culture and art and activities and bars and restaurants and food scene starts to reopen, as long as people can hold out until we are truly clear to reopen, and we're not going to rush to it like Texas seems to be doing. But as long as we can really truly hold out for another few months and get past this last little bit of this, hopefully, I think we're going to be ready to start welcoming people back to San Francisco. The data that I'm seeing online and in local newspapers, the Chronicle had a story, I think it was on Monday earlier this week, talking about how the change of address forms with the Postal Service really indicated that a lot of people were not leaving the Bay Area; they were just moving around within the Bay Area. And so we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see when we get that first wave of people interested in coming back to San Francisco, because they can be anywhere and they'd like to be somewhere where they can go out and do something on the weekend, or after work. So, that's really it. I've got a few more calls the last week or two from clients looking to make changes with their investments, selling and buying different properties, and so that's a good thing to see. That makes me feel a little bit hopeful. And at this point, we're just going to figure out what it's going to take to apply for this money. I imagine it may not be next week, but certainly shortly thereafter, I imagine that we'll have a lot of the answers that we're looking for to get this off the ground. So that's it. That's all I've got for you today. You know, we're just trying to keep everybody moving in the right direction. Our commercial tenants are, for the most part, still being very reasonable. I've only got a couple that I'm struggling to get to pay anything, and you know, we're trying to be reasonable with the commercial tenants, especially. And it's just going to be. I'm so optimistic. It's just going to be a little bit longer. So hopefully that's the case. And that's all I got.
Okay.
That's good enough.
I mean, I think it is good enough too. I really hope that that's what we're dealing with, and I hope that it'll be very interesting to see how the application process goes and how quickly the money starts to flow. Because I did hear that there's a second round of stimulus that's going to be $20 billion or something, but it's definitely earmarked for the most needy and the most deserving people, the very lowest income tenants who are behind, which I think is a perfectly good thing to do. And I really, I'm grateful that I'm not in that end of the market, and not because I think I would be heavily affected if I had a lot of tenants in that range. And so I'm thinking, you know, maybe that's a good thing that they're going to get some too. They won't dilute the rest of the, you know, the funding for the unemployed people and the people with 50 or 80% of area median income. So I'm hoping that money should be flowing. You know, if they can get it flowing as quickly as they did the PPP loans, I think we'll all be in good shape, because that moved pretty quickly. That was not too slow. It was not enough money, but it didn't move that slowly. And I think it'll be more effectively distributed this way, based on 80% of the past due balance. So hopefully we can get this going correctly.
JJ, I'm going to go get some sleep.
All right, go take a rest, Bert. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, well, that's it. Barbara, how are you? Everything good?
Are most of your owners lowering their prices to what the tenants are asking, or the prospective tenants are asking for?
It depends. Some situations, my clients have drawn a line in the sand and said, I'll continue to show these units as long as I have to, and to get the price I want. In some situations, my clients are, you know, deciding to spend a little more time and money upgrading, figuring that, you know, the time off the market now is not as valuable as being back on the market in the summer or the fall. And in some situations, people are saying, you know, I'm too old for this, and I can't make up the lost rent from 2020 and 2021 if I hold out for a higher price and I don't care about what the building's worth 10 or 15 years from now. Not my problem. I'll sell this down the river to my heirs or to the next owner of the building. So it really depends.
So a lot of them aren't going for the bird in the hand.
Not a lot. I think it's pretty evenly distributed. Not everybody is refusing to go for the bird in the hand. But a lot of times, most of the time, there isn't a bird in the hand. You could keep dropping the rent as far as you want, and there isn't anybody there. You know, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there, did it make a sound, right? If you lower the price and nobody comes and responds, is it worth having done it?
Well, I think John has somebody for
I saw that.
And Eric and Carl and I just say, you know, just do it, because it's I can't find Tony, so he'd probably say the same thing if I found him. You know,
when you find him, I'm sure he will. But yeah, we'll just get it done. And happy to know that that's something that you support, is going for trying to get the place rented as quickly as possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's always been my father's motto, you know, get it rented. So I don't know.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day. You look great.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. And thanks for joining us. Take care. Thank you, Denise, for joining us as well. good to see you, and
Nice seeing you.
we'll see you next week. Maybe I'll have some news. I mean, I might have to postpone this until Thursday afternoon, but we will see if that's necessary as the week goes on. All right.
Okay,
Thanks,
all right.
everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.